Hey everybody, it's Jane Atkinson here. I am a business coach for professional speakers. And with everything that's happening with COVID-19, etc., we have a lot of changes in our industry. And one of the big changes is that people are asking a lot of questions about how do you deliver virtually, remotely, webcasts. We haven't quite figured out what to call it yet. That's how new it is, guys. We don't even have a name for it quite battened down yet. But if you're someone who is trying to figure all of this out, I put together 5 tips for you, not only to price it, but also to allow you to just kind of think about how you're going to deliver it a little bit differently. So tip number 1, let's just go into pricing because I know you're going to want to know about that. Some would say that you should go in with your full fee. And I think there's some merit to that. It's your intellectual property. But let's say your client is kind of expecting, and I think we have to manage expectations in this situation. It's going to be a while before we are able to kind of reprogram meeting planners and decision makers on what to expect in terms of fees for local events. And I had the idea that if you don't have to hop on a plane, go somewhere, deliver, and then hop on a plane back, that's 3 days off your calendar, that's got to be worth something to you. So think about your fee. Let's say you have a $10,000 speaking fee that is just regular, but then your local fee might be $7,500. That's your I get to sleep in my own bed fee. That's where you might decide to start. Okay, for a virtual presentation, for a remote presentation, you might want to start at your local fee. Now, I have heard people say discounts up to 50%. I feel like that's a bit drastic. I think maybe clients are expecting something more in the range of 20 to 30. So let's just maybe try to re-educate the meetings market and see if we can't keep those fees high on that. Okay, so let's talk about delivery. This is not a normal presentation. You need to be thinking about how you're going to engage the people who are at home. Now, a lot of people will do that through the chat box. Almost every platform has a chat box. And I think your goal is, well, actually, let me back up a second because there could be 2 situations. One situation might be that you are in your location and the group is in their location. If that's the situation, then I would say you want your wing person, your wingman, your sidekick to be on the ground there, kind of feeding you questions and engaging the audience on your behalf. Okay, so that's one setup where you've got a wingman out there doing that work for you. But let's say you're doing the webinar yourself and you're looking at the chat box. And I am going to say that one of the tips is to have a sidekick. Have somebody who can help get the chat box rolling, somebody who can say, oh, Jane, you missed a comment back here or a question back here. Let's bring that forward right now. Somebody who you can banter with while you are waiting for the comments to populate in the chat box, because sometimes there's crickets. Ugh, I don't know about you, but I am not a lover of I ask a question and nobody says anything in the chat box. So get them in kind of early and often. Ask them a question like, hey, where are you tuning in from? Or maybe there's, what's one word that describes how you're feeling right now? Or if it was me doing my business, it might be, what's the number one question you have for me on this webinar? Whatever, let's just get that chat box rolling. Now, we want to make sure that when we deliver, it's not a normal presentation. You're going to have to take a breath, you're going to have to pause, and you're going to have to engage with your audience. If you're asking them a question, then you need to stop and let them answer the question, like unless it's completely rhetorical. So just be aware of that. I think what a lot of people do is they try to pack too much in. And so leave some air in the presentation. So let's say you have 90 minutes. Maybe you design 60 minutes of content, and then you're pausing periodically throughout so that you are able to engage with the audience, and you want a lot of engagement. That's the way at the end of it you get a lot of great feedback. Now check your backdrop. What are people going to see in the frame of what you're looking at? So you can see my frame. I've got my office behind me, got a big wall. Probably it's not good that I have my fan going right now. You might be able to see my fan. Be very aware of your lighting, but also be aware of where you are in your frame. Let me show you. I have a stand-up desk, which I also recommend, because then you can stand up and deliver a presentation. And I think a standing presentation and a sitting presentation, two different things. I would sit down for a chat with a client, but I would stand up if I were giving a virtual presentation. So let me just show you what I mean by frame. This is actually filling up the frame probably a little bit better. And if I were to do this, then I'm probably missing the boat and I'm not going to be in enough of the shot. So be aware of what's going on behind you and be aware of your body filling up the frame and the lighting that you might have. I don't have any special lighting on right now, but I do have a light ring. I'll just show you what it looks like when I turn it on. See, that's a little more light than I need right now with what I have 3 windows right here. Actually, that's not bad, but I'm going to turn it off anyway. So check your backdrop. I highly recommend. IKEA has a very inexpensive stand-up desk in case you're interested in that. I don't think you need to go out and invest a ton in equipment. A good microphone is not that expensive. I have a Yeti. I'll just show it to you here. It's on a cord, so it's giving me a hard time. I have a Yeti, and I think that oftentimes I will wear a headset just for comfort. I think the headset gives me comfort, but if you want to go without, then you can certainly do that. What you have to be aware of if you're interviewing or having other people talk on it is whether or not that reverb is going to be a problem, and sometimes that's why you want a set of headphones on. So practice. Go out and practice doing this to one of your favorite clients who maybe all their people are working remotely now. Just say, hey, could I give a presentation for your people free of charge? I just want to practice something that I'm trying. Go do it to them. People who already know, like, and trust you are the best people to practice on. Now, I want you to be very aware of your energy. You need to bring more energy to a virtual presentation, but at the same time, you need to pause to let your audience catch up. You really can't just plow right through it, energy, energy, energy. Nobody can go 90 miles an hour for 60 or 90 minutes in a row. We need to, like, sit on something, think about something, and maybe be chatting in the chat box with you. So allow us time to do this. Now, my final one, I kind of already talked about it a little bit before, but have a sidekick. Have somebody there with you who you can have some fun with. Unless you are if you're getting paid, and it's obviously it's just going to be you, but it could be that somebody from the organization who's hired you is your sidekick, and you could be asking them questions. What do you think about that thing that I just talked about, Kim? Is that something that you think your people could apply, and how might they apply that? Now we've got like an interesting conversation, and Kim is giving you the insider scoop from that company. So maybe you could have a sidekick even if you're being hired to speak. But I think if you're doing webinars, you definitely want to have somebody there to play with. Have some fun with this, you guys. Virtual presentations, some of you are like, I don't know if I can do that. But guess what? It's not that scary. Practice it on people who know, like, and trust you already, And I think you'll find that it's very, very helpful going forward, especially right now. You have something that the world needs to know about. You have something that can help people get through this craziness. We just have to deliver it a little bit differently. Okay, that's all for now. I'll see you soon, Wealthy Speakers.